was a production company, but it was also doubled as an agency, kind of, for mostly non-union work. And I went in November of 2008. It was close enough to Christmas where I was like, I'll just read a poem and I'll do a bunch of different voices. And so I went, my go-to thing was the movie trailer type voices. So I started off with, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." And I could see the producer's jaw. I was like, what? Didn't look like he could even be able to do that. And I just went on a roll from there. I did all different kinds of impressions, original characters. I threw Optimus Prime in there. And when I got done, I'm like, is that okay? Or he's like, can you come back? And then on the way out, he's like, you know what, we want to make you a demo. We don't even have any scripts that would work with what you can do. Can you come up with some stuff? I was like, yeah, I'll write some stuff for you. So most of the stuff that was in my demo, I actually wrote it myself on top of everything else. Yeah. They signed me in the following January. The 1st of February is when they started sending me my first auditions. And by February 12th or 11th, I'd already booked my first job. And I was like, wow. And then I got an invoice. I was like, holy crap.
Chad Williams, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for interrupting my story. So I booked my job. I was
walking for you. Like, get out of here.
I'm getting there. But yeah, I booked my first job. I was astounded at how much money that I was making, and that was non-union too. And you know, non-union don't pay as good as the union stuff.
Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah. So I didn't quit my day job. I still worked at forklift at night, and I auditioned during the daytime. But that's where this came from. This was like my second or third job was doing the Clone Wars commercials, doing D. Bradley Baker's character. And doing D. Bradley Baker's character led into doing Anakin's voice. And so I did like 4 or 5 different jobs. I worked on 4 different toys. I worked on about 5 or 6 different commercials. And I was just so happy because it was Star Wars. It was, and part of it was even animated. It was one of the ones was the Bounty Hunters Target exclusive thing, came with the DVD. And they actually animated me talking as Captain Rex on there. I was like, I'm animated, holy crap. I was like one of the things about this, man, you know, I'm animated, whatever. So, and it went from there to doing trailers and different things, and then I was always screwing around on YouTube. That's when the Transformers stuff started popping up. I started doing these Transformers Unsolved Mysteries, which were, you know, Robert Stack does the voice of Ultra Magnus, but he also does Unsolved Mysteries, and I started pointing out problems in the movie and the show, and people tend to kind of like it. And then I saw Dr. Smooth's stuff on YouTube. I was like, that's funny, I can do that. And I contacted him. I was like, I have an idea for a prequel to your Optimus Prime, you know, wakes up thing, and I want to do Beast Wars. And he's like, oh, that's cool. So I kind of sent him the ideas that I had. He's like, man, I love how you got this whole thing planned out in your head already. And then I recorded it, and it did really, really well online. And then people started actually following me, so I felt like obligated to make more stuff. So that was just kind of a hobby, really, more than anything else. And it led to doing like these fake toy reviews and character as like Prime or other characters or whatever. And but I also did a lot of voice stuff. You know, there's a lot of voice guys on YouTube. And I did what I called my Movie Men Trailer Tribute, which was all my favorite. It wasn't necessarily my favorite movie trailer voices, they're just the ones I could do. But I said they were my favorites. And my manager at the time, Don LaFontaine, had passed away. He's like the guy from the Geico commercial that was like, in a world where a car was totally underwater. He passed away, and he was looking for the next guy. And
Two black girls, one white guy.
That's where they kind of all lived there. Ninja couple, rated R. So he's like, I want you to read some trailers. I didn't know he was professional. I didn't know he had his own studio. I didn't know he did this for a living. I thought he was a 10-year-old kid that just wanted my identity so he could buy toys with it or whatever. But they sent me 4 real movie trailer scripts. First one was The Extraordinary Measures with Brendan Fraser, Harrison Ford. I was like, I know that movie. Holy crap, that's a real movie. And then they said, congratulations, you booked 3 out of 4 of these, and that's the best anybody's ever done for us. That's, you know, you've done everybody else that we've read for before. Found out later, these guys actually read guys like Don LaFontaine and like the big movie trailer guys. They still do some.
Wow.
But I ended up being like their go-to guy. And I was like, he's like, you know what, I think you have a lot more potential than you are right now. I'd like to manage you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he offered me this huge freaking contract, and I started doing
really thick.
yeah, huge contract. It took me 15 days to read through. But that led to a management career, which led to doing literally hundreds of movie trailers. I did the entire campaign for Smurfs. I've already done the campaign for Smurfs 2. I did Friends with Benefits campaign. I did the Machete trailer, the original Machete campaign for like the non-US version. But there was like 15 commercials for that. And then I realized how much money was involved in trailers. But I never stopped screwing around on YouTube. And then the guys from 2K Games were like, dude, we heard you're Optimus Prime. We want to book you for our new game XCOM. And I'm like, really? Because these guys booked through I was with an agency at the time, and I was shocked because nobody ever goes through personally contact somebody. They always go through the red tape of going through the agency. He's like, I don't want to go through 500 auditions. I already know what I want. I want you. I want a version of Optimus Prime. And so originally XCOM sounded a whole lot more like, hello, Commander. In response to the alien threat, we have this. He's like, that sounds too good. He's like, he sounds like a good guy. We don't want him to sound like a good guy.
Can we say this? Can you make it less good?
Yeah. So he wanted him to be more emotionless and more dark. So I started thinking like Nemesis Prime. He said, we want people to because he's always in the shadows, we want people to not be sure if he's an alien or a robot.
Is this where Christopher Walken comes in?
Eventually.
At our last script reading, Nemesis Prime.
Shattered Glass Prime. So I when I booked that, I realized and it was just a video game. I was just happy to be in a video game because I love doing character work, and it was right after BotCon too. And my voice was already strained, and it was a 4-hour session. It's always 3 characters. It's always 4 hours, and always a lot of screaming at the end. So I was worn out, but it was so freaking awesome. And the game ended up being a multi-award winner, huge success at E3 and all these other Gamescom and everything else. And then they had a sequel and all the DLC, so I just kept getting more work from it. And it's also led to a really big sequel that I can't talk about yet that I may be in doing 3 characters in that one as well. So I'm like, yay! But then the whole word got out that I was really good at voice matching. And my manager wanted me to meet with this other person, Debbie Cope. Debbie Cope is actually an old flame of Peter Cullen's, believe it or not. And she knows everybody. She's been lifelong friends with Susan Blue. And she knows everybody that's everybody. And he wanted me to do it with the movie trailer contract. She represents Tom Keener as Yoda, and Bo Weaver, who like narrates pretty much everything on Discovery Channel. And I was like, man, these guys are freaking huge. This is, man. And then they started sending me voice match stuff, and that led to the walk-ins. It was stuff that I've been doing all along, but here I'm not just doing an impression anymore. I'm actually replacing them in stuff. So they would send me stuff. It was so weird too, because like every time I would be doing a voice one day, the very next day I'd get an audition for that person. It's like creepy. Because one day I was wrestling around with my wife, like, yeah, you got that. And then the next day I got the thing for the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I'm like, no way, it's impossible. I can't believe this is happening to me. So I just said, I can't do it, I'm on vacation. I kept having to do the vacation lines over and over. And then I got a script for 7 Psychopaths. So I had to go, I don't know who you are, or why you're here, and I don't know if you do know who the Shih Tzu is, or where the Shih Tzu is, but either way, have some pride in yourself. Have some faith in Jesus Christ as your Lord. Don't tell these scum suck nothing. Because the camera's on, I can't say the full line. But
and Schwarzenegger comes out and says, "We're walking, just time it down."
Keep it down!
Keep it down!
Keep it down, walking!
Please keep it down, I'm trying to run through.
But it was so funny because the day before that, I was actually doing Walken's voice because I went to Subway and there was a guy there named Chuck. I don't know why, but that just struck me fun. It's like, I went to Subway. This guy, his name was Chuck. It's kind of chunky. So I called him Chunky Chuck. And my wife was in tears, and the next day I was like, really? Christopher Walken's voice? No way. Okay.
One of the simple pleasures of being a voice actor is having those little opportunities to let it slip out. Going to Subway, going to the drive-thru at McDonald's,
ordering burgers at John Madden.
You know?
Should have been there for that. Hey, what you got here? You got your 2 pieces of bread, you put the burger in the left hand. That's called a hamburger.
At Slagacon, we went through a drive-thru and we were ridiculous. The 2 guys who were driving us were dying.
I'm surprised we didn't get in a wreck.
I was like, and he's doing Madden and movie trailer voice. And
we were hopped up on Mad Monster juice and all kinds of stuff. We were
caffeine and liquor and
that's why I love it when I see Daniel Ross's name on the list and I'm in a con. I'm like, Daniel's gonna be there. We're going to McDonald's. We're gonna misbehave.
So wonderful.
So
go to Arby's.
Yeah.
Oh, we could.
Roast beef. Yes.
If we got a band, we should take everyone.
He doesn't know the Arby's story.
Oh,
I will tell. I will partake of the Arby's story when the camera's not on.
Tell him later.
Yeah. Anyway, so. But yeah,
do that to me.
That whole thing led to like half my career ends up being voice matching stuff, and I swear they ruined Hollywood for me. They ruined it for me Because all of a sudden all this ADR stuff starts popping up, and I can't watch movies the same way anymore.
You have to hear it.
Yeah, because then you're just like,
it.
holy crap, they're not even talking right now. That's somebody else. That's a voice actor filling that spot in. Or then you hear somebody's. You don't even realize that it's not the celebrity in the trailer that you're actually hearing. It's
Like
me.
the room tone is off. They're slightly no, that's not them talking. It's actually someone else,
Yep.
or it's just them talking in a studio months later after they recorded what's there, and it just doesn't sound right.
Yep. Sometimes it's obvious when you hear a really
We
bad
hear
dub.
it.
Like, I know who'd do some good, Superman. You know, like the really bad dubs. But really good voice matches, you couldn't even tell the difference. And it's like the glass was shattered. Like I'm starting to see all the production things that they do, and like, man, I mean, I enjoy the paycheck, but I like ruined the whole Hollywood magic.
You know it's bad when you're watching, and Christopher Walken, you're a big old poopy head. What?
Yep. Smack like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. But yeah, I mean, people pay us to do that. So I've done voice matches I did voice match for Bruce Greenwood in Star Trek Into Darkness. That was me saying, I believe in you, Jim. That's all I had to say. I was J.K. Simmons in the Jobs trailer. All I had to do was say, Steve Jobs no longer works at Apple. And I got paid for that one line. I got to be Chris Hemsworth in like 3 or 4 different movie trailers. I got to be Jeff Bridges in R.I.P.D. Never seen that before. Not sure what kind of shoot you between. And Seventh Son.
It's like he ate John Madden.
That's where that voice came from. Because they sent me Jeff Bridges' voice. I'm like, Jeff Bridges, raw. And then I started
Can you
listening
imagine
really
a
close.
conversation between those two?
Oh, that would be insane. Hey, what you got here? You got the dead people right here. You got the angel guys and they're playing. That's the R.I.P. I don't know what you're talking about, John Madden.
You have to say the full name.
You gotta go up here and you bite it. And that's what I'm talking about, John Madden.
You have to say the full name.
You can do
John.
John William Madden.
Right, John Crumpton.
Yeah, that's a Vince Vaughn joke. Thank you, Chuck Norris. But I'm shocked at how, and I've actually met some other people. Like at Comic-Con was like a huge family reunion. Half the voice actors at Comic-Con were all with the same agency, and I got to meet Scott Menville, who does Robin from Teen Titans, and he actually talks like this in real life. He's like, man, your voice is so cool. I can't make my voice low like that. And he's like your age. Yeah. He's like super, and it's so funny hearing his voice come out that, I'm Robin from Teen Titans, and I was like, yeah, but you're permanently young. You got job security for the rest of your life.
But that's the incredible thing. You'll see people just randomly, and this always entices me as a voice actor because I listen to other people's voices and I try to mimic and
tries to steal their words.
You get this big guy coming in. Like I was at the store the other day, and I'm in the checkout line, and this guy is, he's putting his stuff down, and it's just this big guy, and the lady's like, is this going to be cash or credit? He's like,
I'm going to use my credit card. Do you have any juicy fruit?
See, it looks can be deceiving, but yeah, I think that's.
Tell me that I can have the lollipop. I want the lolly now.
That's the only way we got away with that. With the prank that I got internet famous for a few days, was that nobody expects when they see me for me to be the movie trailer guy, and that's a lot of the guys that do. There's only about a dozen guys who do movie trailers, and there's a smaller club in that club that I want to be in, who do cartoon characters and do movie trailers. Tom Kane, Jim Cummings, Peter Cullen, and Bill Ratner, the only ones that I personally know. So it's a really, really small group, because Peter Cullen, man, did a lot of trailer parties.
kick ass.
I bet they freaking are.
The trailers for was it Toonami for the longest
Yeah,
time.
for a while. But he, back in the day, though, he was like, I bought Lost in Space just for the freaking trailer that was in the special features. Because he was like, somewhere far from anywhere, someone is searching for the way home. And then Dewey's like,
Dad, where are we?
and I was like, I just played that part over and over again. I had the little replay thing where you could put A and B and it just loops it. I just played it over and over again. Something's wrong. No, that's him. The rest of the movie sucks. Except for Gary Oldman, who's awesome and everything.
I like them.
But yeah, so I thought it was pretty good, but I just bought it for the trailer. And then I heard if somebody sent me every time somebody on Facebook, because I didn't realize I had such influence until about a year ago. And people started just anything they find Peter Cullen related, they sent to me. They sent me this in living color clip with Jim Carrey playing the estrogen woman that he did. Delilah. And it was like, she is the amazing conqueror. And I was like, that's Peter Cullen. What?
Really?
Yeah. He was narrating a fake
Now I
trailer.
have to go.
I know.
All I have in my head is,
When you mess with my breasts, you die like all the rest. goes.
Yeah. It was the one where it's like, is that an egg roll in your belly or just happy sashimi? Crawl the Conqueror, Vera DeMarlo, this summer. I was like, no way.
I just want to go to Peter Cullen and be like, how did it feel to do that?
He gets asked how he feels about everything. I just left one day, I was like, I fucking hated it. That was just so random. That's one of the things I do when I do Peter Cullen's voice, is I do things that you would not hear somebody of his great, honor and respect and humility to say.
Like, do a barrel roll.
Yeah. This burrito tastes like poo. But I'm trying to get in contact with somebody who makes those plushy balls, so I can make funny, cute little things for Prime to say.
Adam and Eve?
No, not AdamandEve.com.
Oh.
No, they actually make these little, Mickey Mouse, like Beanie Baby makes them. I want to see some Transformers versions of these, though.
Yeah.
You push the button, you throw them, and it's like, transform and cuddle. You're my best friend. All I want's, I love you. Out of character things are always the funniest to say.
You get like Starscream, like, Megatron, let's cuddle. That would be really funny.
That explains so
We should license that.
That's what I'm saying. I got to corner the market.
Saw it here
That's hot.
first.
That's what I'm talking about. You guys got any more questions? I know that was a long answer to that one. But I figured we'd answer a lot along the way.
Yeah, that was a lot. My butt's asleep.
Don't let the silence stop you. Nothing.
No, Bueller.
So, how you been, man?
Really good. Really good. Excuse us, man.
Thinking Arby's.
Huh? What?
Thinking Arby's.
I think that would be delicious.
Yeah.
Brisket.
You
with
wouldn't if
cheese.
you knew the story about Arby's. But
No, you would. You would. You knew the story.
depends on what kind of person Daniel is,
Oh, Who?
Let's hear it.
Now, if he was at the bar now,
Yeah.
that might have been something fun too.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, yeah, I forgot about
Scott.
that.
Yeah.
Forgot about the bar. We had the worst musician ever.
Oh my
And
God.
he played 3 inches
right
away
here,
from our
ladies and
faces.
gents.
Like
Really?
right up on the stage, like this close, and Scott's like, man, I can play better than this guy. And then he was like, he actually caught Scott out in the crowd. He's like, you a musician too? He's like, yeah. He's like, come on, man, why don't you come up? And he's like, no. And I know what he was thinking. He was like, I'm gonna embarrass the crap out of this guy. He's so freaking bad. They turned their speakers up even louder. Like we didn't need to know how much worse he was. So let's just make sure everybody in the entire city knows how bad this guy plays.
Don't forget how he just kind of wandered around. Like you couldn't stay on stage. You just kind of wandered.
He wandered through the bar as if the bar wasn't close enough to the stage as it was.
Yeah.
He'd just
Was he
go up to
singing?
people. Yeah, well, he was trying. Yeah, I don't think you can call it singing.
It was
It was definitely
It was
making
more
some kind
perving
of
on
rhythmic
women.
noise. I don't know if you can call it singing or not.
Wooing, maybe?
no,
I don't know.
no, it was perfect.
That
It
Asian
was
guy
definitely-
from American Idol was way better than him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But,
That's a job.
Well, Tommy
William
Chong
Hung?
is from Cheech and Chong.
Hung. That was it, wasn't it?
William Hung.
William Hung.
That's right.
That was it. Tommy Chung. What? He said Tommy Chung.
I'm
Yeah, man.
forget who he's from.
Sorry, panel's over, bro.
Man.
Yeah.
That's Tommy
But he
Chong.
got
His blues.
stand
But yeah,
this close to women, be like, how we doing tonight?
Yeah, he did. He got like right up close and personal with everybody. He was like interviewing them. And sometimes in the middle of the song, I felt like he was like a country line singer. Almost. I don't know what to call
If
it.
they don't know like the bubble barrier, that just drives me nuts. When
Yeah.
people are just like,
Invaders of space. I know.
Yeah. How are you?
I had an experience like
I
that.
smelled
with-
your hand.
Better smell good. I use soap and stuff. I had an experience like that with one of my favorite voice actors, Dana Snyder. It's freaking hilarious. For those of you who don't know who Dana Snyder is, Dana Snyder does Master Shake on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And Dana Snyder is also a very funny drunk. So my wife and I went to a fancy restaurant at
so
Comic-Con.
Lee Tokar.
Yeah, Lee Togar's the best drunk ever. So we went to this fancy restaurant at Comic-Con, and I look up at the bar, and there's Dana Snyder, and he's drinking a lot. He stood there for about 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna go say hello, because we met before. He remembered me, I remember him. And he's like, hey, John Bailey, it's so good to see you, buddy. And then I was like, would you like to meet my wife? And he goes, hi, I know John Bailey. We met before. We talked for 15 minutes, and the funniest part, the waitress walked up and was like, excuse me, sir, ma'am, your wife wanted me to remind you that you're supposed to be having dinner with us. He ended up at the bar for 30 minutes and left his wife sitting at the table. The beer, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm having dinner with my wife here.
just sitting there like this.
No, his wife.
Oh, his wife.
He was talking to my wife and I.
Oh.
He left his wife for 30 minutes sitting at the table. He's like, oh yeah, I was having dinner with my wife.
I remember you. You're hot.
You're married to me,
Here's
right?
my room key.
And after he left, she's like, he got really close to my face. I'm like, yes, he did. I love this job. I get to meet some of the coolest, funniest people ever.
You guys met, I can't remember his name. He does the voice of Dean Venture from the Venture.
Yeah, I met Jackson Public and Doc Hammer.
Yeah,
Both very cool guys.
The guy who does Dean, I remember at one convention you had a signing and whatever, brought up the Venture Brother DVDs, and they were we were just sitting there talking, and he was like, "Oh man, there's been talk about getting rid of the Muppets the next season. Well, you can't get rid of the Muppets. It's the best part." And I'm like,
We get rid of the Muppets, but the Muppets we could probably keep.
But
I don't think we'd have a choice.
It's like, okay, well, he pulls up his phone. It's like, you got to tell them to keep the Muppets because they're serious talk. And pull up the phone, start doing so it's like, oh my god, the Murray's Muppets are like the best thing ever. I love the Murray's Muppets. I just went on and.
I had a similar experience with David from David Willis from Aqua Teen, who does Carl. Because my brother actually told me that a lot of voice actors can get offended if you do the characters back to them, so I make it a rule not to do it. I'm honored when somebody does impressions of me.
I always do.
That so I was, and then my brother told me, he's like, he loves it when people do it because he likes to make fun of them for being bad. And he didn't know how good at Carl I actually did, and I'd been tormenting the guy that animates for all my computer animated Transformers spoof stuff. He went with me, and we were sharing a room together. So the whole weekend I was basically like, you and me sharing a bed, and we're gonna spoon or whatever. I get to be the big spoon. So like the whole weekend he's like, dude, you're killing me with the Aqua Teen voice, man. You gotta stop. So we finally get to meet Dave Willis. I was like, dude, I've been torturing my buddy that came with me to Dragon Con all weekend doing Carl's voice. He's like, oh really? What's that sound like? I knew what he was doing. He wanted me to be bad at it. I was like, well, I could do it for whatever, but I don't think you'd want to hear it because it's pretty good. I did that too, but we was going full on Carl mode. And he's like, that's actually pretty good. So, and he actually started doing it in character, so the two of us carried on the conversation as Carl. He's like, so what you're saying is, if anything ever happened to me, you could replace me. Is that what you mean? And I was like, well, I'm not gonna say I don't know. Maybe my cousin could.
Oh, look, steps.
Could or not have something being disappeared or whatever. So, just watch your back, buddy. That's all I gotta say.
I had a fierce competition with Scott McNeil one year. This was back in.
He begged me to do his characters.
This was back in Chicago, and we were having a great time. But we were having conversations with each other in his character voices. One point we're doing Rat Trap, and we're just going back and forth. We're all gonna die. It was just the same character. And then Dinobot going into this and that, and die Maximal Scum. It was so crazy. It was weird, but we just kept going with it, and we were having such a blast. It was just like by the end of it, we're like, it's so fun, and we couldn't stop. And that happens with voice actors. If you do their voice, I haven't run into anybody who's been offended. Although David Sobolov, I irked him at one point because I was like, David, can you do depth charge? And he's like, I don't remember how to do depth charge. It's been years. And I was like, can I do it for you? And he's like, no, I don't think you should. I was like, can I do shockwave? He's like, I don't think you really can do shockwave. I was like, no, I really can't. But I really want to imitate you. And he's like,
I only do it upon request.
Like, lose your hair first.
You'd have to have one of these type heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I only do it upon request. I never do it on purpose, just to say, hi, I can hear your voice.
I'll do one of these things.
I can hear your voice. You want to hear it?
That's why we have the tables. Because it makes it harder to get right up on top of it.
If you get to this part, you're actually going to fall over.
Yeah, these are
I don't think
super
that
skinny.
stops him though. That
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
No,
It
he's
doesn't.
nonstop.
No.
When he found out how good I was at voice matching, he's like, "You do my character." And I was like, "I'm not gonna, not at our panel, because I don't want you getting mad at me." And it was the funniest part with meeting Scott was that I don't know if you ever saw it, but I did a Beast Wars movie trailer, a live action Beast Wars movie trailer.
I think I saw that.
And I showed it to him. He's like, I've seen this. People sent this to me. He's like, dude, they're making a Beast Wars movie. Are you in it? He's like, they didn't tell me about this. I was like, dude, it's a fan trailer. I made it. He's like, you did all the voices too? I was like, yeah. He's like, and that's when it led to the. Did you do my characters?
Spinner wants to be in the movie.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna die.
That was almost a Christopher Walken rap trap.
Yeah, I guess I could do that for them. I don't know. That would be hard to
That's a weird
combine.
combo there.
Man.
I don't know. I can only do walking. I can't do any other versions of
I
walking.
don't know.
Yeah, it'd just be a high pitched version of walking.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be
You don't do
rough.
walking and anything else. It's got to be walking.
My name is Optimus Prime. Autobots, transform. Roll out. Open the door. Come on. That was my favorite line too. I was like, because I was looking ahead in the script. I'm like,
I was dying on the other side of the table.
They barely even put me in the script reading as Charter Card, and I was like, I gotta do something to make this at least slightly memorable. So it's like he knocks on the door and says, "I know you're in there." So I go, "I know you're in there. Gotta come out soon, like, come on." And I saw the video. So one of the 3 or 4 versions that had actually recorded the thing.
Yeah.
Seeing David's reaction when he first heard me doing Mrs. Prime or Shattered, whatever he's called, Shattered Glass Prime to Mrs. Prime.
I was
This is
on
priceless.
the other side of the table, just like, it's fun.
I like my Ryan Seaspray joke too. They're doing American Idol with Optimus Prime hosting. I was like, I'm your host, Optimus Prime, because Ryan Seaspray was unavailable.
That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, you're new to the room. You want to ask anything then?
Who are you?
How did you first get into voice acting?
I heard most of these stories last night. So
Oh, okay.
I'm
Plus
just
a lot of
doing
other
it.
things.
Yeah. You heard my stories when I was here last night.
Oh,
I'm on to you.
I'm gonna make my own series based on you two right there, though. The Stalking Dead.
What happened to the Walking Dead?
What happened to what?
The Walking Dead. I thought you were gonna.
I did do the Walking Dead.
I
It's
did.
a bunch of Christopher Walkens, and they're like, "Come on, gotta eat your brains."
You gotta stop running so fast.
Zombie.
I'm gonna get you.
Rick Grimes. Gonna eat you. You look delicious. How's your wife? Oh, that's gonna hurt. Too
Wow.
soon. Too soon?
Too tsunami.
Are we done with this?
I don't know.
roast?
It's our hour has done past.
Yeah,
So
that's all you get, man.
we have to go to Arby's.
That's right. He has to do the Arby's story.
I have to
can't
go to
say
the Arby's
on-
story.
That I can't
Should
say.
we
on
turn the camera
It's
off?
just too-
I get it.
Okay.
Oh, no, no.
Don't clap for us. Don't clap for us.